What up team? So the 1150 JS is no longer mine. I sold it to the most wonderful Australians you've ever met. They messaged me on Facebook. There's a long story, but basically they messaged me. They're riding the thing to Morocco. So while I'm a bit gutted to see it go, I'm buzzing it's going to someone who's going to really put the thing to use. But the reason I sold it, was because it no longer fitted my needs. You see, I cannot see myself doing any long distance trips, you know, just lifestyle things, work, family commitments. I just can't see myself doing it. But I can nip a day here, nip a day there. And I live in this absolutely sensational part of the world, the Peak District. And if you've seen any of my other videos, I'm quite into the off-road stuff. I love trials. Let me just do this a minute. I love my trials, and I've done a lot of enduro and stuff before, and I wanted to get back into that world in some capacity, but more as a trail rider, adventure biker, and on the sort of dirt end of the scale. So obviously you can buy an adventure bike like a GS that is an adventure bike, but it's not really an adventure bike. You know, I'm not going to take one of them massive things off-road. You could buy an 890 KTM or a Tenere, but I still think they're road bikes really. So I wanted something a little more oof, a bit more hardcore, a bit more off-road focused. And I bought this bad boy. So I bought the PR7 because to me it was the absolute unicorn. I feel really cringy saying that, but this is the bike for me. If you wanted to do the off-roady stuff, this looked like the obvious choice, you know. Long range, so fuel tanks low, just like the KTM 690, Huskies and all that stuff. This sort of idea that you hold the fuel low, it had that. It's got reasonable capacity, like 16 litres. I think that'll take me miles. That'll take me far enough that it's anything I'd need. It had the nav, like, I know people complain that this isn't waterproof, but I'm going to get a sandwich bag over the top of it. It's got that built in. I haven't got another 500 quid spend to get some sort of Garmin or whatever.
I take it back, everyone else was right. The tablet is absolutely shocking. The software is good, the tablet itself is crap, and I'm probably 500 quid into something else that's going to be up to the job.
Probably the most important one of anything is that I think it looks unbelievable, and I think this year's 24 looks the best of them all. You know, they finally, I think the previous designers must have just like had a crayon and a pad and just said, go on, just do something with this, because they were always a bit but this, I think this looks absolutely fantastic. I've ripped off the graphics off the mudguard because I didn't like those. Other than that, I think it looks amazing.
So why did I buy this completely random Portuguese motorbike that no one else has ever heard of? Well, it's because I think it is the best on paper. If I want a bike that will travel and will go off-road and will do both reasonably well, your choices are pretty limited, and I didn't think that a Tenere or an 890 was going to be really manageable for what I want. I'm sure if you were just doing fire roady type stuff, that's fine, but when you see all of these videos of people taking them on proper gnarly off-road, you've got to think they are actually professionals, and I'm not a professional. So when you read the spec sheet on this thing, you're not getting just sort of like random brands you've never heard of. You've got fuel tanks by a Cerbis or a Cherbis, whatever you want to call it. You've got Brembo brakes. You've got Brembo clutch. You've got an Oberon clutch slave cylinder, the thing that everyone moans about. You've got an Alcantara seat. It comes with Michelin tires. It comes with a navigation tablet. So every time that one of these things you have to put onto a bike to make it what you want it to be, it costs money. A rally tower for a KTM 690 701, for a good one, is like £2 grand. It's already there, everything is done. Metal handguards. You see, for me, whenever I looked at any other bike, it felt like I would have to do a lot to it. And I know you can say like, that by doing things to a bike, you make it your own. But everybody who buys a KTM, 690, 70, whatever, does the same modification. So when you say you're making it on your own, you're not making it your own. You're making it the same as everybody else who's bought that type of bike. This, however, this is weird. You don't have to do anything to it, but hardly anyone's buying them. Now, one of the theories I've got to why no one's buying them is because the dealer network is small. Yes, I get that, and I can see how that could put people off. But people say it hasn't changed. This engine is an old Husqvarna engine. The technology on this hasn't really moved on. The frame is the same. Everything's the same as it's been for, I don't know, 6, 7 years. But I saw that as a really positive thing. I saw that as something that the reason it hasn't changed is because it didn't need changing. This motor has been used without any problems, significant problems anyway, for a while. They've done small revisions over the years. There's places like where the fuel filler is, things like that clutch slave cylinder that was such a problem for such a long time. You see, to me, they've done all the stuff that needed doing, and the frame, the motor, the things that haven't changed because they are perfect just as they are.
So on road, it feels good. I'm not going to say it's a super road bike because it's not supposed to be a super road bike, but the seating position is brilliant. The rally screen is giving enough protection that I'm not getting anything here. To be fair, it kind of goes over the helmet. So that feels fantastic. I can see how you could travel a reasonable distance and quite enjoy it. The seat is way more comfortable than you would think it would be. Much more. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. I would sit on here all day. I did 100 and something miles on it the other day. No, I didn't. That's a lie. I did an hour and 20 on it the other day, and yeah, no problem at all. Didn't feel it at all. I'm getting minimal vibrations, so the counter shaft balance thing is doing its job. And yeah, it's way better than I thought it would be. When I thought I was making a compromise, I thought I was making a compromise closer to an enduro bike, and it really isn't that close. It's far away from that. It is adventure bikey as far as I'm concerned. Look at that crevice down the middle of the road. This used to be a really good lane, quite difficult, and then they resurfaced it, and look at the state of that. Absolutely horrific. So how is the bike off-road? First impressions are brilliant. I am on the running in period, so I'm trying not to do anything too crazy, and I'm not upping the revs too much, but it feels so good. For my weight, about 90 kilo plus a bit of kit, a bit less than that maybe. I've been on a diet. It feels super good. It will lift the front up. It doesn't get flustered when you get it accidentally wrong and you run it into a rut. Now I would say that it doesn't enjoy running down at low speeds. Don't get me wrong, the motor's pretty good in it, light tractor along, but if you're going at really low speeds, don't expect it to be like a trials bike or like an enduro bike. It just gets a bit flustered and wants to flame out a little bit. So I guess the only thing for that is that you've got to open her up, baby. It's not an enduro bike, but you can lean it in. It feels nimble between my legs here as I'm bouncing around through this stuff. It's not some big lump that you just have to stay on one line. You can change direction on it. It will hop. It's so good. It's so much fun. Oh, I love it. So there's obviously a bit of a there's an elephant in the room, and that's that the Cove is now available, and I could have had a Cove. However, and it is a big however, to me it's just too early. I actually loved so many things about that bike. I love the looks of that Cove. I love everything that everyone's saying about it. I think a 450 motor might be good enough. I like the idea of having more, but I think it'll be a great bike. But when I'm telling you that this has got sack suspension, Brembo brakes, Brembo clutch, master cylinder, Oberons, it's got all these things, that hasn't got any of them. It's got some Chinese brand, and I don't feel comfortable yet that other people are going to trust that. So I pay £8.5 for that, or whatever it is. I think that'll be worth about £8.20 in a year's time, because I don't think people will trust it. I don't know if I would trust a used bike. I'm going to stand up now because this is getting really sketchy. Well, not really sketchy, but you know. So I don't think that used market, here we go, look, suspension test. Lovely, big hole that. I don't think I could trust that bike as a used prospect. And knowing me, you know, I don't hold on to bikes forever and a day. So I'd come to sell it and I think I'd have a hard time. Or people would want to pay me nothing for it. Look at this. Woohoo! Awesome. What a day for it. So yeah, in summary, that's it. For me, this is the bike you can buy, forget about, and just ride the thing as I'm doing here. I'm in the running in period and I'm straight down the stuff. Let's go through here. I'm straight down the lanes, absolutely loving it. And yeah, I couldn't be any happier with my purchase. So over time, I fully intend on, you know, really running you through this thing, telling you all about it. Whee! Telling you all about it, the good, the bad, the ugly, and all my experiences along with it. This is mega. And hopefully, like me, you'll settle on this bad boy and you'll try and get your hands on one.
So I think it's safe to say I absolutely love it. I couldn't be any happier with it so far. I mean, it helps when it's May and it's like 22 degrees, so everything's wonderful and there's loads of grip and stuff. But I absolutely love it. So if you want to know more about this bike and you want to see the journeys that we take it on, I take it on, then be sure to like and subscribe and do all that wonderful stuff, because I have big ambitions for this girl. The Trans-Euro Trail has been calling my name now virtually, so it should be a lot of fun. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.